Welcome. In today's video, we're going to take a look at a brief introduction to modern portfolio theory. Namely, we're going to take a little bit of a history, dive into the history, and also we're just going to begin with defining what a return is. Let's begin with the history. So, modern portfolio theory, or sometimes abbreviated to MPT, and sometimes it's also known as mean variance analysis. It's sort of a mathematical framework used to determine the proportion of wealth an investor should allocate to each asset within a portfolio. And it's done in such a way so that the portfolio's level of risk is minimized for a given expected return. Now, MPT uses the variance of asset prices, or I should namely say the variance of asset returns, as a proxy for risk. Hence why it's called mean variance analysis. So, economists Harry Markowitz actually introduced MPT in a 1952 essay, and he was actually awarded the Nobel Prize in Economics for this. Now, what you may have heard is that MPT is actually a mathematical formalization of the concept of diversification. And what that really means is investing in different kinds of financial assets is less risky than owning only one type of asset where your risk is concentrated. To understand the mathematical underpinnings of MPT, now let's look at concepts such as return. So, let's begin with defining return. The return of a portfolio is the percentage change in its value, taking into account all cash flows and outflows, or cash inflows and cash outflows. And mathematically, we can define it in this way as R is equal to VF minus VI, all divided by VI. Now, VF is the value of the asset at the end of the period, or the final value of the asset. And this final value actually includes things like dividends and interest. And we'll look at an example in a second to see exactly how we incorporate that. But the VI is the initial value of the asset. So let's take a look. Suppose Warren Buffett purchases 200 shares at a starting price of $20. If Warren then collects $1 per share in cash dividends, notice the dividends, and the ending share price is $21, let's calculate Warren's return. So, the initial value of the shares can be simply obtained by taking the number of shares, which is 200, and multiplying that by the initial price per share. And we've been told that's $20. And over that, you get $2,000. The final value of the shares is, of course, given by 100, the number of shares, times, we've got the final price of the shares here at $21. But additionally, we also have to incorporate the $1 dividend that was also paid out, and that was given by $1 per share. So if you have 100 shares, you end up with 100 times 1 of a dividend. And therefore, the total return when you multiply, the final value when you multiply this out, gives you $2,200. And of course, the return of the share using that formula is equal to VF minus VI over VI, which is 2,200 minus 2,000 all over 2,000, which ends up being a nice 10% return. I hope that example made it more clear about the concepts of VI and VF.